But yeah, this is another episode with BTS with Zeke, and basically what we try to accomplish in these things are to just go behind the scenes. When we watch the movies and the TV series, when they talk about business, they're talking about private jets and lots of partying and lots of fun. But I've never seen a movie that talked about the late nights and the hackathons and the networking and all that stuff. So the hope is with conversations like this, some of those points can come up for people who are looking to start something or people who have started something and are frustrated because they have an expectation of a private jet, to sort of give them that confidence that they're on the right path, that they're not the only ones, going through the quote unquote struggle. With me, as you can see, is Mr. Raghav Dhingra. I hope I pronounced that right. He is from a company called BlotUp, and they have a tool that's basically there to disrupt the way teams collaborate. I wouldn't go too much into detail. I'll let him go into that later. But maybe let's start with a very, very simple question. Who is Raghav Dhingra?
Okay, that's a really interesting question because most of the time, like I do have to remember myself, like what I have done in the past, as well as like what exactly I am. It's like the most interesting as well as difficult question for most of the people. Yeah, like introducing myself, I am Raghav Dhingra. Basically, I have started my journey back in like 2016 when I have contributed to open source organization. And previously there was a contest like a Google code in. So I have participated in those like couple of years. And back in 2017, I have been like one of the topmost contributor from OpenMRS organization. And I was the top like finalist from uh, the whole Google coding contest.
Okay.
And like that was like the initiation of my journey where like I get into the technology, I get vibes to the company, how the tools are built and why they are built basically to resolve a problem which is out there in the industry. And again, moving forward with my journey, like I am a keen technology person. Like I worked over different type of stuff, including like the web technology, AWS, like the cloud one, IoTs, and multiple things. So I really like enjoying building stuff. So whether it's like for my personal use or my fun time or like solving a real life problem. So like I really like to work with startups. So that's why like most of my companies in the portfolio that I have worked with is like startups, and usually I have given more time to them because it's kind of my vibe, because I feel energized working upon different things that they try to solve, as well as like I have also worked with few bigger companies, MNCs like BlueStacks, which is an Android emulator for the desktop, as well as Quillbot. Quillbot is like a compet- competitor of Grammarly. So I have created their extension, and like it currently have more than 4 million users all over the world. So like these are some of my like huge projects, as well as like back when I was in BlueSec, I'd work upon a couple of Discord bots, as well as like collaboration tools. And few of my favorite projects which I have created for my fun time as well as my personal things. So the favorite one would be, I'll say, like my personal portfolio, which I created in like back in 2020, which represents like a Linux operating based system. And it have like a tokenized system, it have terminals, browser, cameras, and like I have tried to replicate it basically so that people can come over my portfolio, and instead of just viewing my stuff and what I've done, they actually feel it, they engage with it
Okay.
basically.
Wow. That's very interesting there. You mentioned a bunch of things. For example, you started in 2016, which is very interesting. You mentioned a lot of, well, it sounds like there's a strong technical background, obviously. But in a lot of things that you talked about, there was a lot of it seemed like there was a bunch of stuff where you seem to be the facilitator of, different. You seem to bring people together with different tools. I don't know if um, this is correct. It sounds like a big part of what you've done in the last few years has involved some type of collaboration,
Correct.
whether it's the Discord pods or the tools used. Maybe that brings us nicely into BlotUp, because as you know, I'm familiar with it, but maybe we should hear it from you. What exactly maybe is BlotUp from your perspective as the founder, and why is it interesting and why should we pay attention?
Correct. So, basically introducing BlotUp to everyone. So, BlotUp is a collaboration tool that will help like the teams of developer, designer, tester, and project manager. Rather, each and every member in the team can use BlotUp. It's a tool basically that will help in the faster issue resolution, and it streamlines the feedback website feedback process so that like people can directly collaborate over the live website instead of like going over multiple platforms to like resolve an issue. So the main pain point which uh, this project basically started from my personal pain point which I tried to resolve. So back in 2022 to like mid 2023, so I have created this initial version which was an offline version. It was basically meant for me only. So I have personally created for like to save my time like while tracking issues, because usually I am from uh, from a developer mindset. Basically, I have to go over like Trello tickets, Slack, as well as like connecting with people, and that basically wipes 50% of my time, which I can save usually to develop things, to resolve issues, as well as multiple thing I can do, which could rather like I can save time. And that's what like brings Blotter into action. And like what I have done is like it's a kind of like issue tracking tool. So I can directly mark over the website. I can track uh the what type of resolution it needed. So instead of going over different platform, I just opens the website which I was working upon, and the issues right up and there. So I do not need to look upon different perspective. I do not need to have multiple meetings. It definitely saves like huge amount of time. And that's why like when I have presented this tool to different community members as well as my colleagues, they also liked it. Like they said like we definitely need to use this or within our teams as well as like within our organization. And that's what it leads to the public version it have. Like that's called as like plot. So
Okay.
back back in like May 2024, so we have like officially released it with all our users, and now they can use it online. They can collaborate together and they can like check all the issues directly on the website.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. Because I mean, you mentioned something important, and I think it's a problem that's universal, both like in the corporate world. I played a little bit there, and in the real like a freelancer and a project manager. So what tends to happen is there's a bunch of to-do list where now we have to do like a 1 hour stand up to go through each item. And everyone must understand what's happening in this item before you can go back to work. But before that item even gets created, someone has to spend another 2 hours looking through the website, for example, then documenting what's wrong with the entire thing. And then, so there's like this loop of time that's spent where you end up spending more time talking about the project than actually working on the project. So
Correct.
so it sounds like what I'm hearing is blot up basically cuts that big chunk of time down by just saying, instead of having to type out and think about how your email should come up, you can simply just on the website make a change and log a ticket, whether
Correct.
it's directly on blot up or even integrated to your existing ticketing systems.
Correct.
Okay. So if you don't mind me asking, what so far, I mean, what's the feedback from your users so far in terms of usage and time and functionality and even efficiency?
Like so far, like be like I have been communicating with multiple customer as well as user that the platform have. And what we have seen on an average, it have saved more than 50% of the issue resolution time using like BlotUp, and which is a huge success for us because this time can be used to develop multiple features within the team, as well as like that time can be consumed to make the products better rather than like uh, getting on the same solution as well as same issue which they are facing, rather than spending more time over like a single bug. They can spend that time to do like different things.
Oh, okay. No, that's like I said, it's a very interesting project. I from a Zeke side at least, and I'm glad there's a collaboration here. From a Zeke side, I know we have people who are freelancers. They're trying to cut costs and they can't really afford the time or even the resources to pay someone to do this manual tracking of tasks. So a lot of time is spent on this back and forth. Sometimes there's minutes, like an hour, half an hour, just arguing about who is right and who is wrong, or trying to explain which shade of red. I mean, I don't know if you've had stories like this where a customer, you tell the customer tells you I want red on my website, and then you make the red change. They don't give you any specifics, and then you ask, okay, I've built the red in, what do you think? And they say stuff like it's too red. And now you have to set up like an hour to try to understand what is too red and what's not red enough. But when I use the tool, it looks like the customer actually can just go directly and pick which shade of red they need and simply log a comment to say, hey, use this hex code or use that hex code, or take a screenshot and edit the font to say, don't use this font. I like Arial better, or I like how this font looks better. If anything, it sounds like um, the non-technical users can actually feel like they're part of the project, not necessarily like what's the word? They don't feel like guests on projects they're supposed to be collaborating on.
Correct.
Okay.
So basically, this tool have multiple functionalities, and that is something like people you really like about this tool. Like we can edit the content as well as like the design directly on the website,
Okay.
and like the each and every instance for the code, like what element have to be updated, what specific code need to change. It lists down each and every detail automatically, so that like if I'm coming from a non-technical background, I can simply use the tool to like define the changes instead of going to a developer and like communicating with them like what need to be updated. That like like seems like a hassle, and that's what like startups tries to solve. Like it help non-technical people as well as the technical people to work together.
Okay. Okay. No, thanks for that. As I said, it's a very interesting tool. I'm also very keen on using it because there's a few projects we're working on with people, and there's always that feedback loop. Sometimes the emails coming late, and you only see it when you check your emails. But the reality is, you could have gotten like a small notification. Okay. There's a question from one of some question from a few members from our team regarding the platform. One was around, you talked about how on your page now you want to collaborate with businesses, but there was someone specific who asked, what type of businesses. So, for example, if there's someone who sells natural products, are they able to use your platform, for example?
Correct. So basically, the platform is the tool which the BlotUp is can be used by anyone, those who have a website or a platform. So basically, whether they are a freelancer, a single developer, solo developer, a student while working upon their personal project or hackathons or like building some stuff, if there are small teams, agency, so or like whether they are a large organization or MNCs, anyone those who are creating a project on like on the web platform, they definitely can use this product. They can enhance their workflow, and that's how this tool is can be used irrespective of the background they have, whether they are coming from a technical or non-technical background. And while talking with our customers as well as I'm also coming to different kind of things as well as approach how the tool can be used. So one of the good example by like a non-technical person using this is like for research purposes or for like changing the documentation which they have created. Like I have created a Medium article, and I need within the team I need to edit those changes. What I can do is like directly go onto the Medium link and select that specific part, and I can like comment it right then and there instead of like going to Google documentation, pasting each and everything, sending it him. And so that's how it is enhancing and helping people right then and there without like using a different platform. Rather, they can use the existing platform which they have developed on and like directly collaborate over there instead of going to like, multiple things.
Wow. I mean, there's this saying that I learned a few years back where they said the most innovative ideas are always the ones with that duh moment. Like, why didn't we think about this sooner? It feels like an idea that someone should have built. Do you have any ideas why no one has built it yet? I mean, before Blood Up, right? Or is it that there's already tools? It's just they don't focus on that, something specific.
So there are different type of tools which like a feedback tool which usually take a manual screenshot and they have to annotate it. And this is an emerging market, like where basically people have to go over and collaborate it with newer and newer stuff. And definitely the thing is like people have the same time, and someone had to come up with an innovative idea like to resolve the issue as well as like to uh, reduce the time like during our current cycle that we have. So that is something which was unique for me as well as there is a company which is really big like a Wurzel Comments, who have initiated the idea of commenting it, like getting a feedback loops live on the website. But there are different things like editing feature as well as like auto detection that our tool provide. So that is something unique thing as well as time saving thing that we really need to introduce, and so that people can save as much as time as possible. So that's how
Yes.
the platform has created as well as like that's how markets grow as more and more people get engaged.
Mm. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. I mean, just going back a little bit before I go to the next question, going back to who can use the or the tool or the platform. So technically, say a business owner who has a website but doesn't necessarily have the technical skills, are we saying they can reach out to their website development team to say, guys, I need you to guys to use this tool so that we can engage faster? Or is it something that's necessarily exclusive just to technical teams?
Like even the business owner can use this tool because all the power instead of like going to the development team, the all the power remains in the hand of businessman because he that not he like that can be he or she, but that person can usually can rely upon themselves as well as with the team to collaborate effectively, so that like they do not have to rely upon multiple uh, feedback as well as like the untrusted sources for thing which they are paying for, which is really crucial for this industry.
Okay. No, that's nice. Thank you for that. Another question that came up, and this one is a bit of a sensitive one. The question was more around security, right? The question was around how does, are there like any systems or tools in place to ensure like the data is private? So say there's some information that's sensitive that, say, teams are collaborating on a staging site, and obviously there's screenshots and data being passed somewhere. How can they be guaranteed that their data is not accessible by, parties they are not aware of, for example?
Correct. So, for the security part, and this is the most interesting question. So, starting from the initial stage, I have like been able to like make it secure and privacy focused. And for the whole lot of platform, security is the top of thing. And how we handle this security is, as well as like we maintain user privacy. We do not track unnecessary things. Only what user allow, only that we need to we track. And usually like we definitely do not track the whole website, just that element which the user have created a comment, that only we track. And for being a security as well as like the data transform or the transmission kind of thing, so we take a screenshot and we securely at a backend save that information associated to your account, and we encrypt it with our latest encryption algorithms, and that data cannot be viewed by anyone else. Even your passwords, your like crucial information, your integration steps, each and every information is secured within our database as well as our cloud structures, so that like no one else outside your team can see it. And that's the main part of the whole platform. And that's
Okay.
our topmost priority.
So businesses should not worry about that data being,
Absolutely.
leaked and that kind of thing. Okay, okay. That's very interesting. Thank you so much. I mean, this was very nice. This is very nice information. I know people will find it very useful in terms of understanding the platform, understanding how it works, and the different layers of the platform and how it can be used. Um, I want to go a little bit as well, maybe just beneath the work and go a bit like interpersonal now. Not interpersonal. I'm not gonna ask you who your wife is or anything like that. Don't worry. But it's more around. I mean, you are a startup person. You sort of you've learned a lot. I mean, from your Google days to hackathon days to Discord days, and to you've learned a lot, right? And I'm sure it was not an easy road. I'm sure there was a lot of hurdles. And one thing I want to ask more specifically around is the collaboration side. So obviously, collaboration involves people, and in my relatively short experience with collaboration, it's never like a straightforward thing. People are not like, 2 + 2 = 4. With collaboration, you have to work with people and the complexities that come with that. So my question there is two part. It's around what advice would you give to someone who is just starting out? Should they even think about collaboration at all? Should they look into it? Should they, knowing that it might not end well, should they continue with it? And looking at what you've learned now, the second part of the question is, how would what advice would you give your younger self based on what you've learned now about collaboration?
Definitely. Like it's a interesting question, as well as so like back from a starting days. Like I believe I consider myself as a community guy. So I believe in the power of like 1 + 1 is not 2, but 1 + 1 is 11.
Okay.
And that's how like it's quite like not a simple mathematic term, I'll say, but like the strength that brings two people together will make. Because usually if we get into a collaboration mode, we need to trust people, as well as
Yeah.
like we definitely have to like work together, solve different issues as well as together. And that's how like we make it like when we go at that part, we need to be disciplined. We need to be like reliant on each other. We have to trust again, and we have to make our sources as well as decisions in the right manner. And that's how, like, if I have communicated something, the next person would definitely would be like provide their views, whether that thing is right or wrong, or whether it needs some improvement. And that's how, like, things get better. And like, I have, like, participated in multiple hackathons, and hackathons are it's much more than developing a product or resolving an issue or resolving a problem out in the market, but it's more about getting, like, getting know about others, what they are building, what they, like, learning from them. Because we, like, in hackathons we get to know about multiple people from multiple backgrounds, different backgrounds they have, and we learn more about them, as well as the technology they have, whether, like, they are working upon different projects or thing, what kind of problem they are solving. And that's how, like, our mind expands, and it is we learn from them. That's what, like, I would say to others, like, be with people, interact as much as you can with others, as well as be down to earth, and, like, get all the knowledge, acquire all the knowledge you can from, like, the people you meet, because the world is beautiful. And, like, so I usually, like, get with them. I talk a lot about their experiences, and that's how, like, we learn from them. Because if we get into something, and trying out different thing would give the same result which other have performed. That learning from others will definitely will tell us about their failures, as well as we can learn from them, and so that we cannot create the same mistakes. um, that's what I'll definitely, like, teach myself when I was young.
So basically, we're saying that from a collaboration side, if someone is listening to this and they're like, I don't trust people, there's an element of you sort of have no choice, but at the same time, be open to learning, also be trustworthy yourself. Not just expect people to trust you, but you yourself be trustworthy, and be open to feedback. Basically, make a point, but listen and absorb the knowledge and learn from, different personalities and different cultures. Okay. Yeah, no, that's interesting. One thing I wanted to ask as well was around the tech component, because this is something I can personally relate with. Again, with I know it's a very short experience. There's a complete difference between, being a technical person, being able to write code, and running a company that has, technical products. And it's obvious for me, it felt like a bit of a transition, because when I was in school, everyone teaches you how to write code and HTML. So when someone says I need a website, the first thing that comes to my mind is, hey, the what's the latest tech stack? What's the latest JavaScript? Fancy animation. But the reality is, in business, what I've learned seems to be that sometimes the person says they want a website, but it didn't really need a website. It just needed like a form. Like they just wanted an automatic response. So being able to sort of transition from that tech background to like a business owner who has to now charge people to pay you for services, what has that been like for you?
Like, it like, coming from again from a technical background, it is the most difficult thing for a person to, like, jump to a business perspective. Because at business we have to understand most of the things, like, like, we have to get to know about people, what problem they are facing. Actually, that's a bigger problem, or it's a smaller problem that can be solved, like, introducing smaller things or the functionalities that we can create. So most of the people coming from a technical background do tends to create things because they have knowledge to create things. And usually, whether that uh, like, platform will solve any bigger problem or not. And that's what I have learned from the past year, like, talking with people with huge potential they have. And, like, so I have learned this huge thing, like the product, anyone can create it because they have the knowledge to create. Any technical person can create. But the exact main pain point which people are saving, whether that product really solves that problem or it is just good to have. So we have to like we have to understand the basic difference between a good to have, whether it's uh, whether it will enhance something or whether it really solves a problem. And that's what like a true entrepreneurship will mean. And like business would definitely include much more step, like getting to know about customer, what's the exact price point will customer pay for the solution, what kind of solution is used at top, as well as it, and definitely includes the product technical side as well as the marketing, sales, and multiple aspect, handling the team as well as trusting the team and growing together. That's how like the whole business environment works and what I have learned from while working upon this.
Mm. Okay. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there, whatever that saying is, with regards to, it sounds like the big transition is going from just technical coding to problem solving. That really is the core of entrepreneurship. Like, it's one thing to write a website, but entrepreneurship asks you, does this website solve their problem? If it's not solving their problem, it's just a nice to have. It's not really, a product, for lack of
Right.
better term. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that again. I think someone will find that useful. Um, I also find that very, because I also said the same thing. Like, but I think in the past, well, not in the past, entrepreneurship have become sort of synonymous with startups and tech. But the reality is the person that sells bread on the road is also a business owner and so an entrepreneur, because they are solving a specific problem called hunger or thirst if it's water. So, anyways, there's sometimes that people try to separate over entrepreneurship. If there's no app involved, then it's not a business. Anyways, I digressed a little bit there. That's a personal thing. Um, I do have two questions to sort of try to wrap it up. Um, Let me start with the first one. So, what is next for BlotUp? Um, what's the big picture here? What
Okay.
are you guys looking to achieve?
Okay. So for the bigger picture, so initially getting to know about BlotUp is there is a one liner for BlotUp. Initially, I would like to introduce BlotUp helps to save time as well as it will help team for a faster bug resolution for
Okay.
anything. How it does, like there are three main things which we need to like focus upon: what, how, and why.
Okay.
So blotter basically target what actually happened by like visually displaying the issue directly on the live website, as well as it also like takes a screenshot. The second thing is how. So it have all the steps, reproduction steps, like what actually happened and how to reproduce the issue.
So,
The third thing is like why the issue happened. And that's when like all the developer logs, network requests came into picture. So it track each and everything in a single ticket, and people can know what, how, and why, and the issue can be directly resolved instead of like going to multiple things. And now getting into bigger picture, what BlotUp sees itself as like the whole platform. It is currently it is a web-based platform, and it's like expanding it to all all the platforms as well as the technology, whether it's Android or iOS or like a desktop application as well. And the bigger picture is like people can save like more than 50% of their time while developing their apps, and it works without any bugs, so that customers are happy as well as the platform which anyone would be creating, people are readily available to pay for them because there it would be like bug free.
okay. Nice. Okay. You were speaking earlier about the hackathon, and it dawned on me that BlotUp can actually be used as a tools for hackathons. Because with hackathons, you sort of on this time thing, and you need to collaborate with your teams very quickly. So I can actually see where the idea of bottom came from, looking at your background. Like, oh, I can see at times where you want to fix something, but you have to set up a Teams meeting and you guys have to do like this 3 hour thing to talk about something that you could have done in 5 minutes just by looking at it. So I can definitely, I'm pretty sure the time saved also is more than 50%, but I want to do my own test myself to just quantify that. But I'm pretty sure the time you save is a lot more because the big chunk of time you're saving is that um, back and forth. Help. Did you see this? And then it's like, oh, I saw it. What do you want? Make it less red. And then, okay, what is less red? And then we keep and before you know it, you spend 2 hours with the back and forth. Cool.
Correct.
My last question is one I might put you on the spot a little bit, but I think I did ask you this question early in our meeting earlier. It's a very simple one. We try to ask every business owner, you have people watching you right now. Say your ideal, person or people or group of people, whatever the case might be, from tech or business or even project managers. Um, you can ask them for one thing, but you cannot ask them for money. You can't ask them for more customers. You can't ask them for what sales. So what would that be? What would that, need really be that you think people can help you or support your business with?
Okay. So, what, according to me, the best thing would be more customers
Yeah.
and more users. And because uh, r- actually, the problem is bigger. We
Okay.
need to save time because money or like the sales is the secondary thing. If we are getting customer, we are really showcasing our potential to them. They will readily be available to like buy out the product as well as like who do definitely would like to support us. So definitely like helping people as well as like getting to solve their issue which they are facing is the topmost priority, and I will definitely be focused over customer. And that's why like over our first like introduction, I would like usually try to understand what the problem they have as well as whether like the plotter would be able to help them, how it can help them, as well as like in future if they are having multiple issue or like with that platform, how BlotUp can tackle that to resolve all of them within a single day.
So I'm not going to use the word customer because one of our rules is we can't say customer because technically customer is already paying. But I think what I'm hearing is you want more users to test the platform, to use the tool to sort of say, hey, we'll talk about money later, but I want you to have a taste for yourself. Like, let it help you. And when you see what it can do for you, I wouldn't have to beg you to upgrade or get the
Right.
paid version. Okay. So right now, and I already have the answer to it, but maybe I want you to just maybe give context to people watching as well or listening to say, okay, how can they get started today? Is it free? Is it paid? When you say free, do they have to apply somewhere to get access? How can they get started today with BloodUp?
Okay, so anyone can go to blotup.com, and we already have a free trial available for them so that they can directly roll out and they can test out multiple features which Blotup provide with all the premium functionality available for the first 14 days of their trial. And also we have our onboarding video available on the website so that they can get exposure of what really BlotUp provide and how can they leverage this tool to enhance their productivity as well as save like huge amount of their team time together. And beside this, like we would definitely love to help you if you have a strong case as well as we are partnering with Zuke for like our expansion as well as like getting more and more people, helping more and more people to get used to this product, and they can like collaboratively saving all the team time.
No, thank you so much, Raghav. And you actually mentioned the point there. I think I almost forgot to mention that. Yes, we are definitely partnering and collaborating on the tool called BlotUp. Like I said, a big chunk of our audience, the biggest challenge I think with small businesses is, you want to do, I mean, to compete, you have to have high quality, and you can't have high quality if you don't have the resources or the funds to employ people to tackle different divisions of the company. So as such, there's this element where small businesses tend to get stuck in this loop where when the CEO should be focused on strategy, they're focused on the admin tracking. So with BloodUp, it becomes a very interesting tool for our user base to say, hey, let us find a way for tech to automate some of these things. So we have stuff like chatbots and so on and so forth to help ease your life. But in this case, BloodUp helps you basically cut down that response time and feedback time, because sometimes developers also get bored if they're waiting 2 weeks for feedback, and you can't give feedback because you need like a 2 hour slot to sit down and type out what your feedback is. And so it becomes a very useful tool. And I believe we agree that people who come through the Zik platform can actually get like a bit of a discount on the yearly subscriptions. And thank you so much for that, Raghav. And also thank you so much for the time. And I know you're quite busy. I know the startup world is a busy place, so thank you for the time. It's always great having you. I don't know if you have any last remarks, questions before I close this out.
Like, I'll definitely say thank you so much for having me here, as well as introducing the tool, as well as myself to the whole world, as well as the community that you have created through the Zuke environment. And like, it's the first time when I have seen Zuke, and I was really amazed because we have known for years, and like the transformation is incredible. And I would
Thank
really
you.
like to thank you, as well as like appreciate you, as well as uh, encourage you for your future, like things as well as happenings. And that's all.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, no, I must say, like one thing that I know startups, when the startup world, you always think you're the only one suffering. And like you're always looking at the goal. So sometimes you have to ignore everything and do all the late nights and so on and the trials, and you think you're the only one. So it always helps to see other people as well that, hey, you're not the only one. You're not more special than the next person, buckle up. So it's always nice to see growth everywhere. And I'm glad. Thank you for reaching out as well. And yeah, we should definitely push further. There will be a press release and everything. I think you already know there's a press release, and we can update everyone on the progress and how people can get started. And if anything comes up, definitely I'll reach out. But I think I can stop the recording now. Thank you, everyone.